I spent over 400 hours knitting a complex, hand-dyed merino wool blanket for my sister-in-law, only to find it listed on Facebook Marketplace 3 days after Christmas for $300 with a caption, "Unwanted gift, ugly colors, smells like wet dog." So I created a fake profile, offered her extra money to hold it for me, and showed up at her front door with a smile and a printout of the listing. The yarn cost me $450. That isn't an exaggeration or an estimate. I still have the receipts from the indie dyer in Oregon who spun the wool specifically for this project. It was 100% superwash merino, the kind of material that feels like a cloud against your skin, dyed in a gradient of deep forest greens, fading into soft, misty grays. I chose those colors because my sister-in-law, Jessica, had spent the last 6 months pinning photos of moody, Pacific Northwest interiors to her Pinterest board. I thought I was being attentive. I thought I was finally cracking the code to her approval. I started knitting in September. I'm not a casual knitter. I don't do simple garter stitches while watching Netflix. I do complex cable work, the kind that requires silence, a pattern chart that looks like architectural blueprints, and a level of concentration usually reserved for bomb disposal experts. This blanket was a tree of life pattern, featuring twisting Celtic knots that branched out into delicate leaves. It was a masterpiece. I know that sounds arrogant, but in the crafting world, there is a difference between a hobby and an art form. This was art. For 3 months, my life revolved around that blanket. I knitted on my lunch breaks. I knitted in the car while waiting for my kids at soccer practice. I stayed up until 2:00 a.m. on weekends, my hands cramping, my eyes straining under the craft light just to get another few rows done. My husband, Mark, Jessica's brother, would watch me shaking his head. "Honey, it's beautiful," he'd say, bringing me tea. "But is she going to appreciate it? You know how she is." I dismissed him. "She's family," I said, "and she loves this aesthetic. It's handmade. It's an heirloom. Even Jessica can't turn her nose up at an heirloom." I was wrong. I was so spectacularly, painfully wrong. Christmas Day arrived. We hosted this year. I had spent 2 days cooking, cleaning, and making sure the house looked perfect for Jessica and her husband, Dave. When they arrived, Jessica did her usual routine, a passive-aggressive scan of my living room, a tight smile, and a comment about how brave I was to have a white rug with children. We did dinner, we did drinks, and then we did gifts. I saved the blanket for last. I had wrapped it in high-quality, eco-friendly paper with a real silk ribbon. My heart was hammering against my ribs as I handed it to her. "This is for you," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "I made it." Jessica took the box. She shook it. "Heavy," she remarked. She tore the paper, not carefully, but ripping it in that way that disregards the effort of the wrapping. She opened the box. She stared at the blanket. For a solid 10 seconds, nobody spoke. I watched her face, searching for a spark of joy or awe, or even just basic gratitude. "Oh," she said finally. She reached in and touched the yarn with one manicured finger, as if testing it for contamination. "It's a blanket. It's hand-knit," I explained, leaning forward. "It's the tree of life pattern, and the wool is merino hand-dyed. I thought the green would match your new sectional." Jessica pulled a face. It was a micro-expression, a slight wrinkling of the nose, but I saw it. "Green," she repeated. "Yeah, it's definitely green. Thanks, Op. It must have taken you a while." 3 months, I said, my enthusiasm starting to curdle into anxiety. "Wow," she said, dropping the lid back onto the box. "That's a lot of time." "Well, thanks." She put the box on the floor and immediately turned to Dave. "Did you bring the wine from the car?" "That was it. No, I love it." No, unfolding it to see the pattern. She didn't even take it out of the box. She treated it like a toaster she already owned. Mark squeezed my knee under the table, his eyes apologetic. I swallowed the lump in my throat and forced a smile. "It's fine," I told myself. "She's just not expressive. She'll look at it when she gets home and realize how beautiful it is." Don't miss the agonizing drive to her house. The moment she opens the door expecting a stranger with cash and finds me standing there with receipts, and the chaotic family fallout that revealed she's been doing this for years. The confrontation is about to begin.